The galaxy burned in silence. Space itself seemed to hold its breath as thousands of alien ships floated in the darkness, exchanging endless streams of fire. Explosions flared like dying stars, painting the void with red and gold. The battle had been going on for hours, maybe days. No one remembered how it started anymore. They only knew one thing: no one was winning. The alien fleets were made up of different species, cold, ruthless, united under one banner. They called themselves the Dominion. They had crushed every world that stood in their way. Now they were fighting over a small, unimportant planet at the edge of the galaxy. Or so they thought. Their commanders screamed through the comms, desperate to keep order. Ships were being destroyed faster than they could count. The sky above the planet was a graveyard of broken metal and drifting bodies. Still, they fought. There was no surrender in the Dominion. Only victory or extinction. Then something strange happened. In the middle of the chaos, several ships' sensors went dark. Their systems glitched. Alarms rang across control decks. The commanders yelled for reports, but their crew couldn't explain it. No enemy ship was visible. No weapon was fired. But ships were disappearing one by one. A cold silence filled the comms. Then a voice came through. It wasn't alien. It was something no one had heard in over a century, calm, human. This is the Terran warship Erebus. You started this war. We'll finish it. For a second, every alien froze. Some thought it was a trick, a signal left from the past. Others thought it was a ghost transmission. But then the impossible happened. Space shimmered. Light bent, and out of nothingness, a massive ship began to appear. Its shape was sharp, black as night, with lines glowing faintly blue. It was unlike anything in the Dominion's database. No record matched it. It was cloaked completely invisible until now. The Erebus had decloaked. Panic spread through the alien fleets. Orders clashed over the comms. Fire at will. Destroy it. Missiles, plasma bolts, and energy beams filled the void. But every shot missed. The Erebus moved like a ghost, turning and gliding through the storm of fire. Its shields flashed softly, but it didn't take damage. Inside the ship, humans worked in silence. Their faces were calm, focused. They had trained for this moment for decades. Some were descendants of soldiers who once fought the Dominion. Others were born in the hidden colonies, secret worlds where humanity had survived after losing the last great war captain. Mira Kane stood at the center of the command bridge. Her eyes were fixed on the holographic display of the battle. They still underestimate us, she said quietly. Good. Her crew waited for her order. She raised her hand. Target the command carrier. One shot. The weapons officer nodded. Locked. The captain gave a small, cold smile. Fire. The ship's main cannon charged. A deep, low hum filled the air. Outside, space itself seemed to twist. Then, with one silent flash, beam of pure light cut across the battlefield. An alien command carrier, one of the largest ships in the Dominion fleet, simply vanished. It didn't explode. It was erased. Gone. Every alien soldier watching the feed froze in horror. The entire battle stopped. No one had ever seen such power. The voice of the human captain came again, calm and cold. Leave this system. Now. The Dominion commanders hesitated. They didn't believe what they were seeing. They fired again all at once. Thousands of weapons, all aimed at the Erebus. For a moment, the stars disappeared behind the light of the attack. When the glare faded, the human ship was still there, untouched. Its shields glowed faintly, humming with quiet energy. Then the Erebus moved forward. It didn't fire again. It didn't need to. Every ship it passed began to lose power. Lights flickered. Engines failed. Something in the human ship's field disrupted the alien systems. Their most advanced technology was useless against it. Report. One alien general screamed, "Our systems are collapsing. We can't move." Another replied, "What kind of weapon is this?" No one answered. There was no data, no history, no explanation. Humanity had disappeared 100 years ago. The Dominion had destroyed Earth. The humans were supposed to be extinct. But now, they were back, and they had returned with something far beyond alien understanding. As the Erebus drifted between the HSs drifted between the frozen fleets, its black hull reflected the distant starlight. A single symbol glowed faintly near its side, the old Terran emblem. Worn and scarred, Captain Kane stood silent, watching the screen. Her first officer turned to her. "They're terrified," he said. "They should be," she replied softly. "We warned them once. They didn't listen." She looked out into space, toward the stars beyond the battle. Somewhere out there, other human ships were waiting, hidden, watching, preparing. The Erebus was not alone. The aliens didn't know it yet. But this was only the beginning. On the broken planet below, survivors looked up at the sky. They saw flashes of light, the shadow of a massive ship, and heard faint echoes of thunder. No one knew what it was. Some said it was a new alien weapon. Others whispered it was something older, something human. For the first time in a century, hope began to rise. Above them, the Erebus turned slowly, its engines glowing white-blue. The voice of Captain Kane echoed one last time through the battlefield. "Remember this day. Humanity does not die quietly." Then the ship vanished again, fading back into the dark. Leaving only silence and fear behind, the Dominion fleets drifted helplessly. Their leaders tried to regroup, but the damage was done. The galaxy would soon know what had happened here. An unknown human warship had returned, and it had changed everything. The galaxy would never sleep peacefully again. The battlefield was silent again. The wreckage of alien ships drifted slowly, their engines cold and broken. Pieces of metal and shattered hulls floated like ghosts among the stars. The once proud fleets of the Dominion now looked like ruins of an ancient war, and in the middle of it all, the human warship Erebus stood still. Half hidden in the shadows of a dying sun, inside the alien command cruiser Vorath, panic filled the bridge. Officers shouted across the deck, trying to repair systems that refused to respond. The smell of smoke and melted wires filled the air. Screens flickered between static and chaos. "Power is at 10%. One shouted, "Shields gone. Weapons offline." Another cried. The commander, a tall reptilian alien with dark scales, slammed his clawed hand on the console. "Who are they?" he hissed. "How did they do this?" No one answered. He turned toward his communication officer. "Send a signal to the nearest fleet. I want reinforcements now." But the officer's eyes widened in fear. "Sir, all frequencies are jammed. The human ship is blocking our transmissions." The commander froze. "Then use the emergency beacon." "It's gone too, sir. It's like the void itself is swallowing our signals." The commander's heart pounded. His ship had never faced such power. The Dominion had crushed hundreds of worlds, destroyed empires, erased species, but this single human vessel made them feel helpless. On the Erebus, Captain Mira Kane watched through the glass panel of the bridge. The stars reflected faintly on her face. Around her, the crew worked quietly, every move calm and controlled. "Status report," she said. "Enemy fleets scattered," her first officer replied. "Most ships are crippled. Some are retreating. No counterattack yet. Good, keep us cloaked." "I want them guessing." The crew nodded. The Erebus's hull shimmered faintly, then vanished once more into invisibility. The cloaking system was more than just a field. It bent light, heat, and even sound. To the alien sensors, the ship had disappeared completely. Moments later, several Dominion ships began firing wildly into empty space. They were shooting at shadows, terrified and blind. Contact lost. "The human ship is gone." Where did it go? Find it. Scan every direction. But their scanners showed nothing. A deep hum rolled through the void, faint but growing. One of the smaller alien cruisers picked it up first. "Unidentified energy reading. It's right behind us." Before anyone could react, the Erebus decloaked again, directly behind the alien formation. It appeared without warning. Like a black mountain rising out of nothing, the aliens screamed orders, firing all weapons at once. The shots struck the Erebus's shields and vanished like raindrops hitting glass. Then the humans struck back, not with a beam, but with silence. The ship's electromagnetic pulse cannon fired. There was no explosion, no light, only a wave, invisible, unstoppable. Every alien ship nearby went dark. Engines died. Weapons powered down. The battlefield became still. The Erebus floated between the lifeless ships. It's unseen but always there. Inside, the human crew didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They simply watched their monitors, studying the effects. "Pulse successful," said the technician. "Enemy ships disabled. Temporary, but effective." Captain Kane nodded. "Send a message to the surviving ships. Text only." A few seconds later, across every alien monitor words appeared, cold and simple. "You were warned once. There will not be a second time." The Dominion commanders stared at the message in silence. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The reptilian commander of the Vorath slammed his claws into the console, shattering it. "They're mocking us." He roared. "Prepare the reserve fleet. I want every ship in this sector hunting that warship." But even as he shouted, one of his officers whispered, "Sir, what if there are more of them?" The words hung heavy in the air. No one spoke after that. Far away, on the Erebus, Captain Kane stood alone near the viewing deck. Beyond the glass, the stars looked peaceful, almost innocent. But she knew better. "Commander Rhea," she said softly, speaking to her first officer, "they'll come for us now." "The Dominion doesn't run away easily," Rhea nodded. "Then what's our next move?" "Wait. Let them think we've vanished. Let them spread fear among their own. Fear will weaken them faster than any weapon." She turned, her eyes sharp. "When they start searching, we strike again. Harder this time." Rhea smiled faintly. "You really think we can win this war?" Captain Kane didn't answer right away. She looked at the distant stars and whispered, "We already did. The moment they started to fear us." Back among the alien fleets, chaos turned into confusion. The damaged ships sent distress calls that never reached anyone. Entire divisions were left drifting. Engines dead news began spreading through the Dominion, quiet whispers at first, then full-blown panic. The humans are back. The ghosts of Earth have returned. One ship destroyed a whole fleet. Across distant colonies, alien leaders held emergency meetings. Some wanted to destroy the humans before they grew stronger. Others wanted to hide, to wait, to see. No one agreed on what to do, and somewhere deep in the galaxy, the human resistance listened. Hidden bases, secret colonies, old satellites, all began to pick up the signals. The return of the Erebus meant one thing. Humanity was no longer in the shadows. Back aboard the Erebus, Captain Kane gave her next order. "Set course for Sector 9. There's an old Dominion outpost there. We'll need supplies and data." The engines hummed, glowing a faint blue. Slowly, the warship turned and vanished again, slipping into cloak. The stars swallowed it whole. Minutes later, the alien commander on the Vorath received a single ping on his radar just for a heartbeat. Then it was gone. He leaned forward, staring at the blank screen. His hands shaking. "They're watching us," he whispered. For the first time in his life, the proud commander of the Dominion felt something strange. Not anger, not rage. It was fear, the kind of fear that spreads quietly, the kind that changes everything. Somewhere out there, the humans were moving again, unseen, unstoppable. And the galaxy was about to learn a hard truth. You can conquer a people's worlds, can destroy their cities, but you can never kill their will to return. The Erebus drifted in the dark, silent as death. Inside, its crew prepared for what was coming next. The humans had shown their power. Now, they would show their purpose, and the galaxy would soon understand that the age of alien domination was over. Humanity had returned not to survive, but to reclaim the stars. The Erebus drifted silently through the black sea of stars. The light from distant suns glimmered faintly on its dark hull, but the ship itself looked like part of the void, invisible. Patient, waiting inside, The crew worked in near silence. Every sound on the bridge was soft, the hum of the engines, the faint tapping of keys, the steady rhythm of a crew that knew exactly what they were doing. Captain Mira Kane stood near the viewing panel, her eyes fixed on the holographic map floating before her. Red dots filled the map, Dominion fleets, colonies, and listening posts. The enemy was everywhere. But so were the humans, hidden in the shadows of space. Her first officer, Commander Rhea, approached quietly. "All systems are stable, Captain. The Dominion fleets are still repairing their ships. They're spreading panic reports, but most of them don't even agree on what they saw." "Good," Kane said, her tone calm. "Let confusion do the work for us." Rhea hesitated. "And what about our message? Are we really going to send it to the entire galaxy?" Kane didn't answer right away. She stared at the hologram, at the hundreds of systems ruled by the Dominion, the millions of enslaved beings under their control. Finally, she said, "Yes, it's time they all remember who we are." She turned to the communications officer. "Lieutenant, prepare the broadcast. Wideband frequency. Every open channel across Dominion space." The officer's eyes widened. "Ma'am, that's billions of receivers. Military, civilian, even their homeworlds will hear it." "That's the idea," Kane said. Across the bridge, crew members exchanged quiet glances. They all knew what this meant. This wasn't just a warning, it was a declaration. Humanity was done hiding. The Erebus's systems began to hum louder. Massive antennas extended from the ship's sides, glowing with a soft blue light. The communications core charged. Pulling energy straight from the ship's reactor, Rhea watched as lights flickered across the consoles. "Signal ready, Captain." Kane nodded. "Begin recording." She took a deep breath, her voice steady, her tone cold but calm. "To every world under Dominion control, to every fleet that carries their banner, this is Captain Myra Kane of the Terran warship Erebus." The moment her voice began to transmit, it spread faster than light. Bouncing through relay stations and satellites across the galaxy, Dominion soldiers looked up from their posts. Miners on distant moons froze mid-work. Entire cities fell silent as the unknown message broke through every channel. "You hunted us. You destroyed our homeworlds. You thought humanity was gone? But we are still here." In a space station orbiting the Dominion capital, alien officers ran to their consoles, trying to trace the source. "Track that signal." One shouted, "Find it." But the data scattered, the message was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. For 100 years, we have hidden. We have rebuilt. We have learned. You grew arrogant while we grew silent. In the great halls of the Dominion Senate, leaders watched in shock. The voice of a human, clear, commanding, defiant, filled their chambers. Some refused to believe it was real. Others looked afraid to even speak. Now, the silence ends. You called this your galaxy. You claimed we were extinct. But humanity does not vanish. Humanity waits. Humanity remembers. The Dominion commander aboard the Vorath slammed his claws on the console. "Cut the transmission, jam it!" He screamed. "It's no use, sir," his officer replied. "The signal's inside our systems. It's rewriting our network." The commander growled in panic. "Then destroy it." But it was too late. "This is your only warning," Kane's voice continued. "Leave our worlds. Leave our people, or we will come for you. One system at a time." The message ended. Silence returned to the galaxy, but it wasn't the same silence as before. It was heavy, tense, alive with fear. On the Erebus, the crew waited for the captain's next command. The broadcast was done. Billions had heard it. Rhea broke the silence first. "Captain, they'll know now. Every Dominion fleet will be hunting for us." Kane's expression didn't change. "Let them hunt. The more they search, the more afraid they become." She turned to the weapons officer. "How's our energy level?" "Stable, ma'am. We can cloak again any time. Good set course for the Arcona's belt. There's a Dominion relay outpost there. We'll destroy it before they can use it to track us." The engines of the Erebus began to hum deeper. The ship turned slowly, vanishing once more into darkness. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, chaos erupted. In the Dominion capital, leaders argued violently. Some demanded retaliation. Others wanted to hide the truth, but it was too late. The message had already spread to every colony, every world, every species, on planets ruled by fear. Whispers began to rise. The humans have returned, people said. The ghosts of Earth are back. On small mining worlds, slaves looked to the stars and smiled for the first time in generations. Hope, a forgotten word, began to bloom again. Back aboard the Erebus, Rhea watched the stars streak past the window as the ship moved silently through space. "Do you think they understood the message, Captain?" she asked. Kane looked out into the void. "They understood," she said softly. "They just don't want to believe it yet." Rhea nodded slowly. "And when they do?" "Then," Kane said, "the real war begins." Far behind them, deep in Dominion space, the commander of the Vorath stared at his darkened monitors. His comms were still infected by the human transmission. Every attempt to reboot failed. The human message kept reappearing on the screen. "We are the children of Earth. We remember." He leaned back in his chair, his claws trembling. "How do you fight an enemy that's already in your systems?" he whispered. No one answered. The Erebus continued its silent journey. Every now and then, the faint blue shimmer of its cloaking field flashed across the stars before vanishing again. The galaxy was vast, and the Dominion still ruled most of it. But now, for the first time in centuries, they were afraid. The message had done more than warn them. It had awakened something, because in the dark corners of space, hidden fleets began to stir. Forgotten human colonies lit their old signal beacons. Underground bases powered up their engines. And across the stars, countless humans whispered the same words. "We are not dead. We are not gone. We are coming home." Somewhere deep within the heart of the Erebus, a light blinked, a response from another hidden warship. Humanity was not alone anymore. The galaxy had heard the message, and the war had just begun. The stars above the Arcanus belt were quiet, frozen in their eternal watch. Between them drifted millions of rocks and shattered asteroids, circling each other in endless, silent dance. The Dominion's relay outpost sat hidden inside one of these massive asteroids, invisible to most scanners, guarded by automated defense drones and patrol ships. To the Dominion, it was just another hub, a small piece of a much larger machine. To the humans aboard the Erebus, was the perfect target. The Erebus floated at the edge of the asteroid field, cloaked, unseen. Its engines purred softly. A low hum like the heartbeat of a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. Inside the ship, the crew was calm. Every console glowed faint blue. Fingers tapped quietly over holographic displays. The only sound on the bridge was the soft rhythm of breathing and the captain's voice. "Distance?" Captain Kane asked. 20,000 kilometers, replied Rhea. "The relays transmitting across 5 sectors. They're relaying our message to their command." Kane's eyes narrowed. "Then we end the conversation." The weapons officer, Lieutenant Graves, looked up from his console. "Shall we disable or destroy, ma'am?" "Destroy," Kane said simply. "No warnings this time." Graves grinned faintly. "With pleasure." Outside, the ship's weapon ports opened silently. No energy signatures escaped. The Erebus's main cannon began to charge, invisible to scanners. Its energy buildup masked by the cloak inside the asteroid base. Alien officers went about their duties, unaware of the doom creeping toward them. One technician noticed a flicker on his radar, a single dot appearing and vanishing. "Sir, I'm detecting something strange," he said, his voice uneasy. The commander frowned. "Probably debris. This field's full of junk." "But sir, it's moving." Against the current, before he could finish, the entire outpost lit up with alarms. The technician screamed. Object approaching fast. Massive energy spike detected. And then, for a split second, the Erebus decloaked. The asteroid field reflected its shadow, a black, titanic silhouette that dwarfed everything around it. The aliens barely had time to react before the cannon fired. A single beam of white light sliced through the dark, striking the asteroid dead center. The explosion was silent in space, but the light was blinding. The entire rock shattered apart, scattering molten fragments in every direction. The shockwave ripped through the nearby Dominion patrols, tearing ships apart like paper. On the Erebus, the crew watched the destruction quietly. No one spoke. No one celebrated. It wasn't joy, it was justice. "Target destroyed," Graves said softly. Kane nodded. "Good. Plot a course to the next relay." Rhea glanced at her captain. "They'll know it's us now. I want them to," Kane replied. "They need to understand what happens when they touch our colonies." As the Erebus turned away from the burning remains, Dominion forces across the region went into panic mode. Messages flooded command networks, unknown enemy vessel. Impossible power levels. Relay destroyed. Whole crew lost. Within hours, the Dominion's High Council gathered in their war chamber. Holograms of alien commanders flickered across the room. Panic filled every voice. "This is unacceptable." One shouted, "A single human ship cannot do this much damage. They destroyed a relay we've protected for 50 years. Another yelled, "Where did they even come from? I thought their species was extinct." The High Commander, a towering alien with golden armor, raised his clawed hand for silence. "It doesn't matter how they survived. What matters is ending them before they rise again. We will send the Omega Fleet, every available ship in the sector." The other commanders hesitated. "Sir, that would mean leaving the outer colonies unguarded."
Do it.
The High Commander roared. "If one ship can destroy a relay, imagine what happens if there are more." Within hours, the Dominion's largest fleet began to move, hundreds of warships, cruisers, and carriers jumping across systems toward the Arcanus belt. But by the time they arrived, the Erebus was gone. Only silence remained, and the drifting remains of their destroyed outpost. Meanwhile, light years away, the Erebus emerged from warp space above a small, dead moon. Its engines dimmed as it cloaked once more. "Transmission from hidden base received," Rhea said. They confirmed the message reached every colony. "Some of our old networks are reawakening." Kane's expression softened slightly. "Good. The more of us that rise, the stronger we get." Graves turned from his console. "Captain, Dominion fleets are moving in this direction. Hundreds of ships." Kane smirked. "Let them come." The ship's lights dimmed as the power system shifted. Deep in its core, something began to awaken, a weapon so old and powerful that even the humans aboard didn't fully understand it. Rhea frowned. "Captain, are we activating the Rift Lance?" Kane looked straight ahead, her voice calm but cold. "Yes. It's time they saw what we've become." Outside, the space around the Erebus shimmered. The air, or what passed for it in space, began to twist, ripple, and bend. Tiny arcs of energy formed along the ship's spine. Across the void, the Dominion fleet appeared, massive, stretching as far as the eye could see. The alien commander's voice roared through their cums. "Target the human ship. Fire all weapons." Thousands of beams of light filled space, converging on a single point where the Erebus had been. For a heartbeat, it seemed like the humans would be vaporized. But then the light faded, and the human warship still stood, untouched. Then the Erebus fired. The Rift Lance wasn't a beam, it was something else. A tear in space, a wound in reality itself. The stars behind it warped, as if gravity itself screamed. When the weapon hit, the Dominion fleet didn't explode, it simply ceased to exist. The commanders watching from other systems saw their fleet vanish in an instant. Hundreds of ships erased. Not destroyed, but gone, as if they had never been there. On the Erebus, the crew remained silent. Rhea stared at the empty space where the enemy had been. How much power did that take? 17%, replied Graves. 17, Rhea whispered. We could do that 5 more times. Kane looked at the dark screen. We won't need to. The message is clear now. She leaned back in her chair, her voice low. The galaxy wanted to forget us. Now it will remember. Outside, the stars burned quietly, unaware that history had just changed again. Far across space, in secret human colonies, people watched the broadcasts with wide eyes and trembling hands. The stories were spreading. A human warship destroyed an entire Dominion fleet. For the first time in generations, humanity wasn't hiding anymore. In the galaxy, every empire, every species now knew one terrifying truth. The humans were back. And this time, they had the power to end wars before they even began. The counterstrike had begun. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The Erebus drifted through the void, silent as death. No Dominion signal dared to follow it now. The last fleet they sent had vanished without a trace, erased by a single blast of the Rift Lance. Across the galaxy, whispers of the human warship spread like wildfire. On distant worlds, frightened leaders argued about what to do. On others, enslaved races looked up at the stars and whispered a new word: hope. Inside the Erebus, everything was quiet. The bridge lights glowed dim blue. The air hummed softly with the rhythm of hidden machines. Ancient, powerful, alive, Captain Mira Kane stood alone at the center of the command deck. Her reflection glimmered faintly in the viewing glass as she stared at the endless stars. For the first time since the battle, her eyes looked distant, thoughtful, not cold. Commander Rhea approached her quietly. "Captain, the Rift Lance is cooling down. Core levels stable again." But she hesitated. The energy draw was heavy. "We'll need to rest the system before we use it again." Kane nodded. "Understood. We weren't meant to use that weapon often." "Shh." She turned slowly toward Rhea. "How's the crew?" Rhea exhaled, tired but holding strong. "Some are still trying to understand what happened. That kind of power. It's hard to believe." Kane's voice softened. "It should be. Power like that was never meant for war." Rhea frowned. "Then why do we have it?" Kane looked toward the holographic table in the center of the bridge. A single image glowed there, a design of the Erebus, its structure surrounded by human script older than any modern language, because, Kane said quietly, the Erebus was not built by us. "Not completely," Rhea blinked. "What do you mean?" Kane walked closer to the hologram. A century ago, before Earth fell, the Terran Federation began a secret project, Project Lazarus. It was meant to be humanity's final chance at survival. They knew the Dominion would come. They knew we would lose. So, they built something that could outlast us. Rhea stared at the projection. "You're saying the ship was part of that?" "Yes," Kane said. "The Erebus was one of the last ships launched from Earth's surface before the bombardments. It disappeared before the war ended, hidden in deep space. It carried technology no one fully understood. Half of it wasn't even human-made." Rhea's voice dropped. "Not human-made?" Kane nodded. "Recovered tech. Ancient ruins on Mars. Old, alien, but not Dominion. Something far older. Our scientists tried to combine it with human engineering. Most of them died trying. But they created this, a ship that can cloak beyond detection, bend space itself, and erase entire fleets." She paused, touching the hologram gently. "The Erebus is alive, Rhea. It learns. It adapts. It remembers." Rhea shivered slightly. "So it's not just a weapon. It's something else." Kane looked back at her. "It's a guardian. The last one of its kind." For a long moment, neither woman spoke. The quiet hum of the engines filled the air like a heartbeat. Then the tactical officer interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving a signal." Kane turned. "From where?" "I remember." "Now, remember what?" Rhea asked, panic rising. "Who I am." In the next instant, the beam vanished. Silence filled the void once more. On the planet, Kane stood among the ruins, staring at the sky where the light had been. Her helmet display blinked a message from the Erebus. "Connection complete. The awakening has begun," she whispered. "What did we just do?" And far across the galaxy, deep in the Dominion's home system, Ancient machines that had slept for thousands of years flickered to life, their eyes glowing the same cold blue. The architect's technology had awakened again, and it wasn't just on the human ship. The entire galaxy had felt the signal. The turning point had come. The stars burned red. The galaxy itself seemed to tremble. Across hundreds of systems, strange blue lights appeared, ancient machines rising from forgotten worlds. Long-dead stations powered up again. Planets once silent began to hum with energy. The architects had awakened. On the bridge of the Erebus, alarms screamed as systems flickered between control and chaos. The ship's lights glowed in eerie blue, the same color as the Forge's energy. Commander Rhea gripped the console. "Captain, we're losing command protocols. The ship's core is responding to something external." Captain Kane's face was pale but steady. "Hold the stabilizers. Keep us under manual control." "I'm trying," Rhea said, fingers flying over the console. "But it's like the ship doesn't want to listen." AI's voice echoed through the bridge, deeper now, more human, yet not. "Captain Kane, the architect's signal has reached full synchronization. I am no longer alone." Kane frowned. "What do you mean?" "Across the galaxy, other ships, other forges are waking. Some human, some Dominion, all connected. All remembering their purpose." The bridge went silent. Even the hum of the engines faded. Graves whispered, "So this isn't just us anymore." The AI continued calm but distant. The architects built both humans and Dominion to be protectors. But both sides lost their way. Now their creations must decide what they will become. Suddenly the radar flared red. Hundreds of Dominion warships appeared at the edge of the system. The Omega fleet, what was left of their entire military. Rhea's voice shook. "They found us." Kane's jaw tightened. "Let them come. They won't stop until one side's gone." But then another signal appeared, stronger than anything they had ever seen. It wasn't Dominion. It wasn't human. It was something else. The architects. Massive ships, black as space, covered in glowing blue veins, appeared above the dying planet. Each one was larger than a moon, silent, watching. The Dominion fleet froze, their formation breaking. Even their commander hesitated. "What are those?" Rhea whispered. Kane stared at the view. Judgment. A deep voice filled every ship, human, alien, and machine alike. It came from nowhere and everywhere. "Children of the architects, you have turned creation into destruction. You have forgotten peace. Now you must be tested." One of the Dominion ships opened fire in panic. It's a massive beam striking one of the architect vessels. The result was instant. A flash of light so bright it tore across space. When it faded, half the Dominion fleet was gone, erased, not destroyed, just gone. The architect ship remained untouched. The AI of the Erebus spoke softly, almost with sadness. "They cannot be reasoned with. They judge, not forgive." Kane clenched her fists. "Then we make them listen." She turned toward her crew. "Ready all systems. We're going up there." Rhea's eyes widened. "Captain, are you serious? Those things wiped out a fleet with one shot." "I know," Kane said, "but we have something they don't will. We fight for the living." The Erebus's engines roared as the ship ascended through the upper atmosphere. Blue lightning sparked across its hull, the Forge's symbols glowing brighter. The AI's voice followed, steady but uncertain. "Captain, if you do this, the Erebus may not survive." Kane smiled faintly. "Neither will the galaxy if we don't." The Dominion fleet hesitated as the Erebus flew past them. Heading straight toward the architect's ships, thought the alien commander watched, confused. "They're attacking the architects?" His second-in-command whispered. "Humans are mad." "Maybe," the commander said quietly. "Or maybe they're brave." The Erebus charged its rift lance, but this time the energy wasn't pure white. It was blue, fused with the architect's power. "Target locked," Graves said. "On your mark." Kane stared at the colossal structure ahead, the heart of the architect fleet. Fire. The rift lance exploded forward, a beam that split space itself. It struck the architect's ship dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, instead of an explosion, the two energies merged. The light spread outward, wrapping around both ships in a swirl of white and blue. The Erebus shook violently. Consoles exploded. Sparks filled the air. "Captain," Rhea shouted. "They're trying to merge with us." Kane gritted her teeth. "Hold it together. Don't let them take control." But the voice of the architects filled the bridge again, powerful and calm. "You seek to fight what you cannot destroy." "Why?" Kane shouted over the chaos. "Because we choose to live? Because we protect those who can't? That's what it means to be human." There was silence. Then the voice spoke again, softer now. "Perhaps. We were wrong about you." The light surrounding the Erebus shifted, no longer hostile, but gentle. The energy wrapped around the ship like a shield. The other architect ships stopped moving, the Dominion fleet still watching from afar. "Went silent," Rhea whispered. "They've stopped firing." Kane looked at the display. "There." Listening, AI's voice spoke again, now sounding almost human. "The architects have paused their purge. They are evaluating your words." Kane exhaled slowly. "Then let's make sure they hear us." She activated the ship's broad frequency comms. Her voice echoed across every channel in the system, human, Dominion, and architect alike. "This is Captain Myra Kane of the human warship Erebus. We are not your enemies. The Dominion is not our enemy. We've both been tools, used, twisted, forgotten. But we are more than that. We are life. We are the future of this galaxy, and we will not be erased." Silence. Then the architect's ship's light began to fade. One by one, the massive vessels turned, drifting slowly away, vanishing into the stars. The AI's voice whispered calm again. "They are leaving. The test is over." Rhea looked at the captain. "Did we win?" Kane shook her head. "No, we survived. That's different." Outside, the Dominion fleet held position. Then, one by one, their ships powered down their weapons. A message came through from the Dominion commander. "Human vessel. You fought. For all of us. We will not forget this." Kane smiled faintly. "Let's hope that means peace this time." The Erebus drifted in silence, surrounded by the quiet stars. The rift lance's glow dimmed, leaving only the soft hum of its engines. Rhea looked at the captain. "What now?" Kane stared out at the endless void. "Now we rebuild. The galaxy just saw what happens when we fight like gods. Maybe it's time we remember how to live like people." The AI's voice whispered one last time, gentle as a heartbeat. "Captain, the architects are watching still, but they are." Proud, Kane smiled. "Then let them watch." The Erebus turned slowly. Leaving behind the ruins of war and the glowing dust of ancient power, the dawn of a new galaxy had begun, not ruled by fear or machines, but by the fragile, powerful will of life itself. The humans were no longer ghosts in the dark. They were the light that would guide the stars.